Welcome to Robyn's Roost. I feel like I've been kind of missing in action for a while, but I think it was only a week that I missed. I went to on stage and then came back and was super tired. And one of my friends that I went with ended up coming down with COVID. So I have been in lockdown for 10 days. I don't usually go a lot of places, but I talk to a lot of people. And this whole isolating thing is like not good for me. So anyways, today I have a fun card for you, or actually two cards we're going to be making, and this is one of the items that is coming up in the new catalog in April. So what's the name of it? I think I have it written on here. Dotted Circles. So we're going to be playing with this and some of the Shimmery White Embossing Powder. It's kind of different. I've never really seen people using this and on the embossing folders, but it worked well. It was a bit messy, so if you're a non-messy person, you might not want to do this, but try to squeeze out as much as you can. It's going to run out of the end when you go through, so have a wet rag, right, because you're going to need it. So here are the two cards that we ended up making. So kind of a masculine version and a kid's one, right, because I have a lot of guys in my life and a lot of kids. Not that I don't have girlfriends too, but these two are, shiny and wow, and I don't know. I thought guys and kids. So let's flip the camera and get started. So we're going to start with the dotted circled 3D embossing folder, which will be in the new catalog that comes out in April. So you can see this is huge, right? It's, gosh, I think it's 8.5, but let me just check. Yes, 8.5 by 6. So you can make some pretty large pieces. I mean, pretty much as big as your embossing or your cut and emboss machine will take. And then we've got our Shimmery White Embossing Paste. And I have two pieces of cardstock. I thought we'd play with two different pieces. This is Pecan Pie and Lemon Lime Twist. Whew. And then since I don't have my tools here, I just have a plain old throwaway plastic knife to spread the paste with. So I'm going to start by just spritzing the paper a little bit to get it ready to bend. So I'm going to go off camera. Well, maybe I can do it here. Hopefully I don't get anything too wet. Okay, just a little spritz on the paper. You wouldn't need to do this, but just so it takes the paste and everything better. Okay, so now we are going to smush the paste into the indented side, not the raised side. So we're just going to scoop it up, and we can kind of just going to see where I need it, because I don't need to put it all over. Actually, you know what? Let's put this underneath here, and we can see about how big a spot we need. And then I'm going to cover this while I go run this through my embossing machine. And we're all set. So just run it through like normal. So I'm not sure which embossing plates you have, but this is a rather old one. So for this, I need to have this flipped up. Whoops, we're going to run it through this way with the, and then with the specialty embossing plate, and we'll run it through like that. Now, when you run it through, you do want to have some paper towel or a wet rag or something handy, because it does squoosh out. Okay, so I am going to remove our piece. I'm just going to set it there. It looks like maybe I want it a little bit further down, but that's fine. Everyone looks a little different. Now you could also add ink to your embossing paste to give it a different color. Now I've got our pecan pie one. I'm just going to leave these both plain white. Whoops, and I'm spreading that on the wrong side. Although maybe it doesn't matter. No, I think it does. So let's get it back over here again. I'm going to have a mess on both sides now. Let's just give this a wipe so I don't have too much of a mess on the other side. I guess if you were doing more than one, I would say clean it off in between. And I just run it under some warm water in my sink, because now I'm going to have ink on both sides. Or embossing paste, I mean. Okay, so here is our second one. And of course it's a real mess because of my little mistake. Okay, and I need to get something to set it on to let it dry. So I am going to let these dry, and I can just scrape it off of my glass plate, so I probably don't have to worry too much about that, even if I had to take a razor blade. But we will let those dry. I'm going to clean this stuff up, take my pup for a walk down to the dog park, and I'll come back when this is dry. So now that I have this dry, and I did actually put weight on it so that it would flatten out a little bit. Being wet, it curled a little bit. So my piece of paper was 3 3/4 by 5, and that was crumb cake. And then I've cut a piece of early espresso that's 4 by 5 1/4. I have a standard card base that is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored at 4 1/4. So this is what we're going to start with. And I'm not going to put that on the base yet because I may want to put some ribbon on it. And then I also have a scrap piece of crumb cake that I'm going to create a label with. So let's start working on our label. First of all, I'm going to take some crumb cake ink. And I have some stamps mounted here. These are from the Notes of Nature stamp set, which I'm sad to say is going to be retiring. I really like this set, and I feel like I haven't had enough time to play with it yet. But for those of you who aren't demonstrators, you can purchase this and play with it forever. I try to show you stamp sets that are available, right, so that you can purchase them. So let's see. Oh yeah, this will be nice and light. And this is just kind of a background. We're going to randomly stamp it on here. So we want to cover the whole piece. This is just to create our little background for our tag. And then I've got some early espresso ink. And I'm going to, let's see what size. Let me pull in the dies here so I can kind of like, okay, we're going to need at least the second one in order to have it long enough. And we're doing this as a birthday card. Today is all about you. Happy birthday. And I'm thinking it's kind of a masculine card with all the browns, although it wouldn't have to be. So let me go die cut this, and I will be right back. So do you ever find, like, you have these pieces like this and you think, oh, what could I do with that? Set that over to the side and we'll use that someday, right? I probably never will, but I set it off to the side. And you know, we actually have these little extra tabs on here. I think I'm going to cut one of those too. And I just so happen to have a scrap. So now, of course, I have 3 of them. I usually keep an envelope in my die set to keep those kind of things. So the next time I want one, I won't have to die cut it. So we're just going to glue that on there. Isn't that pretty? It really makes it look like a tag. Now, if you wanted to make this look really, oh, I can't think of the word for it, old, you could crumple it up and then flatten it back out again, and it would give it that old look. I need to find my glue. Here we go. Okay, not too much now, just a little bit. Okay, now we have to go back to deciding if we want to add some ribbon on here. And you know, I think I'm going to put some twine in the tag, so we could probably do without the ribbon. Now, because I goofed up and got a little bit of the, or a lot of the embossing paste on the back, this is maybe gonna not glue as well. So we're gonna slather it up with tape runner. And I am using the Stampin' Seal Plus, so we've got a little bit of a more luck with it maybe sticking with all that embossing paste on there. Now sometimes I like to flip my piece over so that I can get a good rub on it without all the bumps and stuff in the way. Burnishing your adhered pieces will help keep them together. Okay. Can you really see how cool this turned out? You know, it's got little smudgies here. I really like that. This one we can put the typical glue on. We don't need to get carried away because it's just paper on paper. But I am going to flip this open and give it another rub. Okay. Now I'm thinking we maybe need something a little bit more. You know, there is a die set that goes with the Notes of Nature. Let me just pull it out. I think I had, it's here somewhere. Here we go. I know I had a piece of vellum in here, and I don't think I want like this whole thing. This was one of the dies in here with that edge. But maybe we could add a couple of vellum pieces of these little leaflets, and I'm just going to use this piece to cut them. So let's see how this looks. Maybe we're going to want some colored ones in here too. Take a peek first. Ooh, it's kind of delicate, the vellum. I think it might look good just with the vellum. Yes, that would be great. Okay, we can put these off to the side. And then, of course, the crumb cake color is on the very end. So I've taken them all out, and I haven't opened these yet. These were one of the things that we got at Onstage with our I'm trying to think what they called it. We did stamping at night. all that, and all we need is just this little piece. Okay, and I'm just going to poke this through here. Okay, and then let's adhere the vellum actually to the back of this. Just run a piece of our adhesive on there. And let's see, about there, like that. Now, do we want the center to show or all the edges? I think maybe about like that. And let's put this on with some dimensionals. I'm going to put one dimensional right over the, whoops, one dimensional right over our vellum. That'll help hold it on. Okay. So there is our first card. Let's see, what did we have? We can stamp a little something on the inside too, right? So we have just a little note to say hello. That would go good with the birthday. I just think this is the prettiest font on here. I'm not too much usually for the scripty looking fonts, but this is so pretty. Okay, we'll throw some of these field notes in the corner. So for the field notes, let's go back to our crumb cake. So it's going to be just a light background kind of a look. Okay, let's stamp that in the corner. And then let's do a little bit of this yet in here too, just kind of random. So this is just carrying on from the look of the front, right? We want it to kind of all be cohesive. And then we'll come back in with our early espresso for our greeting that we're going to add. So that completes our card one. You could add some gems if you wanted, but with all the embossing paste, I kind of think we don't need any. So I'm going to set that one to the side. And now we have our lemon lime twist base, and these are all the same size as the first card. And I'm going to do these little walruses, sending a big hug. And let me show you the stamp set. This is also another stamp set that's going to be in the new catalog in April. It's called Hearts and Hugs, and there's a die set with it. So now we have to decide, do we want to color the walruses or do we want to just stamp them on a piece of gray? And I think I want to color them. So these guys need a bigger block. Let me find one. So we're going to be using our tuxedo black because we're going to be coloring them with Stampin' Blends. Let me just push this out of the way a little bit. Go ahead, stamp. And now I'm almost thinking we're going to make these guys a little bit kind of unique colors, right? This is kind of a fun card, so we don't have to make them realistic. Let's make one of them pink and one blue. Okay. Maybe this won't turn out at all and we'll back up and change, but let's see how it looks. Actually, this one looks like it would have been the boy, doesn't it? Shoot. Because he's bigger and has longer tusks. Well, let's rethink this. Let's see what it looks like if we do this. Okay, so now that I've made the boy pink, let's go ahead and see if we can give him a blue look. This actually looks like it's going to turn into kind of a pretty walrusy gray. I kind of like it. Isn't that pretty? I think I'm going to make them both that color. I like it. Sometimes accidents work well. So that was just a light bubble bath and a light balmy blue that I'm using here. Give us our pretty kind of mottled looking, is that the word? I'm probably not saying it right. And this is the dark. It feels like this one's about juiced out. I think I need a new one. I'm going to come back over this with the pink. Let's see what this does. Let's just do her in pink. Now I've got some light petal pink for their tusks. Kind of almost like an ivory. And I've got these little tongues here. Try a light poppy parade, but it might be, oh, no, that's fine. And then let's give them some dark brown noses. And this is the deep dark naturals. Okay, so there are our walruses. Now we need to die cut those. Let's just go ahead and do that. As long as I have these dies out here, I was going to show you that the critters are all have die cuts that cut them out. And then we've got some fun flowers, a label, the stems for the flowers, and this cool heart curve. So let's just move those out of the way. They're going to go there. We're probably going to use that that label yet. Now I need to find another empty block because I've used them all. Where's that white? Okay. And let's do our greeting. See, and I think this will look nice. And let's just, maybe it's kind of big though. We'll have to cut it twice. So what you do when you do that is you just cut it once and then put it back in and line it up to cut the second end shorter. So let's just go ahead and find our tuxedo black ink. It was actually kind of well hidden here. Let's see. And I can actually put this about here. And let's go cut this. So here's our little label. And like I said, all I did was cut it once and then put it back in, line the die up. Let's see if I can kind of show you. You actually feel it when you line it up. So you kind of feel it snug up into the edges and then cut the second end. So we're going to put that here. And then I had some ribbon out that I thought would add a little bit of something. So I had white ribbon, but with the white paper, maybe not. I've got this pretty green, it's a parakeet party, which is retiring this year. I think maybe that one. So that's just, I wonder, do we just want to put a piece of it here and let it float? And this is the ribbon that you can actually shred, and it looks really pretty. Let's see. I think we'll do that. Let's make it that long. So let's go ahead and layer this up. Another thing you might notice in the new catalog is that this beautiful, thick, very vanilla paper is being retired. It's one of the things I'm sad about. I like the vanilla. You also won't be seeing any vanilla cards, envelopes anymore. So if those are things that you like, make sure you get those ordered right away. The last time I looked, they were still available, but that won't last long as people realize that they're going away. Okay. And again, I'm going to use a generous amount of adhesive on here. Because the paper curls, it makes the glue have to work a little harder. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but this is Old Olive under here. And then this one, of course, was the Lemon Lime Twist. And we'll put our little lovebirds on the top. And I think we'll do those on dimensionals again. And let's hope I got that centered, sort of, kind of. I'm going to take your pick tool, and I'm just going to pull these fibers apart so we have like a tassel almost on the end. And I think we will put this on with dimensionals as well. And I have all these edges here. If I can find my scissors, they should work really well. I'm just going to cut a strip of them. I'm going to put it a little bit at an angle so it's on both the ribbon and the paper. And we'll put this right in the center. And there's our second card. Aren't those pretty? Let me show you a few other just random techniques that I was playing with. If I can find my pile. Oh, here's the first card that I made with this this technique with putting the paste on this embossing folder. And you'll notice these pretty circle dies. These are in the catalog, the new upcoming catalog as well. And they go with, oh gosh, can I find it? Another nature stamp set. So they're bundled with this Spotlight on Nature. There's just a whole bunch of circles with all these pretty edges. So there's two different sheets of them. Some have little flowers, some have openings. These, gosh, I don't know what the hashtag ones. So isn't that awesome? That's actually what drew me to choosing that stamp set. Okay, on to my other experiments here. So I tried using a paintbrush to put the embossing paste on, and that did work. I tried just taking it on a toothpick and dabbing it on, and I'm not so sure if I like that. This one was colored, So I used the ink refills to color it and then spread it on, and then I added more white to kind of complete the look. And that's the pieces I'm going to make that card of. I like that one. So the masks have some labels, and I just put the piece that was popped out of the label on top of the other mask, this one, and that left me a spot for my label. Here's another one where I used a brush. It was really hard to get it on even, so I'm not sold on the brush. Here's another one that I used the brush. So this is another new stamp set. Gosh, I can't remember the name of it. Leaf something. Anyways, it's a background stamp with leaves. And this one, I used a brush again. Actually, I kind of like the look on this one. And you'll notice that I took a blending brush and added some different greens to give a little variegated look to the leaves. That one I'm going to be using. Here's another cool one that I did. So I inked up the big leaf stamp and then put the embossing paste on my brayer and ran it over the inked up stamp and then stamped it. And then when I was done with that, I took my brayer and ran it over my other piece of cardstock to just, so I used up the embossing paste that was left on the brayer. It was kind of neat because it kind of left some impressions of the leaves too, so I'll have that piece to use on another card. So hope you enjoyed these techniques. Thanks for stopping by the Roost, and I would feel honored and pleased if you would shop on my store. I do have the address below that you can go to pick up these supplies. And remember, this the annual catalog, the new annual catalog begins in April, so it is a little ways out yet, but hope you get excited for it. And if you want any of the retiring products, I urge you to purchase them right away because they do go fast. Again, thanks for stopping by at the Roost, and have a great day.